welcome to my first YouTube channel. So I thought it would be really nice and really fun to come to you guys in this new format with my PNGTUBER, who I'm gonna shout out the creator real quick who made this PNGTUBER. It's called Lumi Paint. They're from Montreal, Canada, and they're so nice. They even sent me a message after I bought this NARPy little alien cat, and I think it's so nice. It's so like, it suits me really well because I don't know, it's just really fun, and I've always loved cats, and I'm such an Aquarius that I'm like a little alien cat. So I love it. I think it blinks as well. So yeah, I want to come to you guys and talk about like my first book that I've ever wrote in this new format with the PNGTUBER and this little alien cats. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about my first book ever. Unfortunately, it's not available anywhere. You can't read it anywhere. I was reading it the other day, like the first couple chapters. It was a really cringe, you know, like I wrote that like back in 2020. Like I came out of college 2015 or something like that. God, you know I'm old. I was like, oh, I want to write a book. I really want to write a book. And the first book I wrote, it's called Heavenly Bodies. And the best way I can describe it to you guys, it's sort of like if Harry Potter met The Legend of Zelda, met Avatar The Last Airbender, met Final Fantasy. That's the best way I can describe it to you guys. And yeah, it's sort of like a high fantasy world, but over the course of writing it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna write a fantasy book. I really want to write a fantasy book. But then, lo and behold, it turned out to be sci-fi. So yeah, I wrote a sci-fi book, even though like I would always say it's a fantasy because I couldn't really fathom the idea of me writing sci-fi. You know, I was like, always like, oh, it's a fantasy book, but no, it's really much a sci-fi book because there's like teleportation and there's like gadgets and people use like computers as magic, and there's like you have to like actually type the code that you want to like cast a spell. So it's like a little bit of both, I guess. It's like some fantasy elements are in there, but most of it is actually just sci-fi. I want to talk about the cover for a little bit because this cover was made by a friend of mine. He's Fares Maes. You can go and check him. I'll link the socials. I'll link his like portfolio in the description. You can go check it out if you want to. He's like a really good friend, and he's like a professional artist who has worked with like Magic the Gathering. He's recently worked on a comic that I'll put up on screen for you guys to check out, and I think it's like coming out real soon. He was a colorist, I think. Don't quote me on that, but you know, I would have to ask him. But yeah, he made the cover and he was like, oh, I'm gonna charge you. It was actually a commission. It was like $300. But it's okay because, you know, it's how you learn. And honestly, that's what a book cover like in this caliber costs. But you know, it was worth it in the end because I'm really proud of the cover, and I'm still like showing it to people like, oh look, and it gives a lot of like, the cover is like really out there for what the book is. Like I feel now the book is not that good and the cover is like really amazing. So go check him out if you guys want. Basically, I wanted to talk about like how no one will read your first book. I know that sounds really discouraging when you first start out, especially if you're not like established or you don't have an audience or anything like that. Nobody will read your first book. Like I remember when Heavenly Bodies came out, and even now, even now I'm making a video about it 6 years later after its publication. But at the same time, I was reading it and like I don't know why, but it really feels like I didn't have an agenda. Like nowadays I'm like I'm an illustrator and I'm a comic artist. But yeah, so that's my deal with that. So that's why I'm like more and more as I like grow on social media and I make more content and all that, I'm like not really wanting to like draw more of the spicy material, you know, coming to terms with the idea that I don't want to draw spicy, even though kind of like for a time I did, you know, for a time I did want to draw spicy, but now I kind of like I don't want to draw it anymore. So I'm kind of doing like soul searching and like trying to figure it out for myself, but honestly I don't really know what the frick is gonna happen. I wrote Heavenly Bodies, you know, and Heavenly Bodies does not have any spiciness in it. Like not a single thing is spicy. Just talking about the book and like why nobody would read your book, it's I will come back to that. Sorry, you know, my brain is like whenever I talk my brain is like scatterbrain. I have scatterbrain syndrome. I wrote my first book and I was like, oh, people really want spicy from me, people really want to like read spicy from me, and it's like no, they do not. You know, they don't want to, or maybe they do, I don't freaking know. I don't know, like that's the thing, like I don't know what people want. The prequel, I kinda introduced two gay characters that are Baron and Windsor, and they are part of this clan called the Sorcerers of the Wind. And the thing about Heavenly Bodies is that we start the story after a 2,000-year-old war for the understanding of the first sphere. And the first sphere is sort of like this, I guess, meta dimension that is outside of their universe, and they sort of like have to go to it and find it and like understand it through like science, I guess. The more they try to understand it and the more they try to like get to it, the more unknowable it becomes, and the more like madness they start to like kind of like get into their brains, I guess. The more they can't understand it, and of course it has like Lovecraftian elements to it and like the unknowable and like all this and all that. The first sphere is actually kind of like the connection between all my novels. The first sphere is in some type of way in every single novel that I have written. You know, even now, I have two characters that I really adore called Arslan and Aiden. And they are boyfriends, but they also live in this world kind of like Heavenly Bodies, where like the first sphere is like a meta dimension that is outside of their universe. When I was writing Heavenly Bodies, I didn't really know what the first sphere was. I was writing by the seat of my pants, but then as I kind of like went more and more into it, I understood that it's like what I wanted to do with it and where I wanted to take it, you know? So yeah, that's the story of Heavenly Bodies. And like I feel like, or I was when I wrote it, I was like not really a good writer because I couldn't really focus on like the, I guess, political plot points that the story tells, because the Sorcerers of the Wind are sort of the bad guys of the story, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like they are, but they're not, because the clan that Baron and Windsor are in are like a new generation that is trying to get away from the prejudice that the Sorcerers of the Wind carry, I guess. And I feel like I didn't do it justice, and there's so much more to that plot that I really want to like maybe go back to and like reassess and like think about like how can I make it better, how can I write it better, you know? So why will nobody read your first book? This is like the big question of this video, I guess. The thing is, nobody really cares, especially if you're like a starting artist or a starting writer. Nobody's gonna care because nobody's gonna like wanna read your high fantasy book, because we already have J.R.R. Tolkien. You know, we already have, like, what I mean is we already have the big series. We already have the big IPs, you know, and it's really much like what makes your book different. And for me, it was like the Lulu. You know, for me, it was very much like I am the Lulu enough to write a book because I want to be a writer, you know. In case you didn't, well, of course you don't know. What I studied in college is animation and visual effects, and that's why I'm doing, you know, that's what I'm doing now. I'm like doing socials, and I'm doing animations, and this and that, and I'm doing illustrations, even though they're not really good. Like I'm still like trying to figure out like how to make it better, because it's just like, if you look at one of my shorts, I made a short with this with Catch Catch by Yena or Yuna. Is it Yena or Yuna? I forget. Wait, let me look at it real quick. Catch Catch song. It was by Yena. So I didn't want to get the just like whatever. So what was I saying? Like basically TikTok. Yes. TikTok was very into, you know, giving me like, hey girl, song is like really popular right now, you should do something with it. I'm like, okay, I will. 3 weeks go by where I worked diligently on those like chibi characters of my OCs, and then I like finally sat down and made the video that I uploaded to YouTube Shorts. And the thing is, I made a storyboard for that. The idea was the same over the production of the whole thing. You know what I mean? I have to, you know, make things and I have to get them to completion, I guess. So that's something important to me. And then when I uploaded it, it like bombed. It bombs on TikTok because I really thought in my delulu like, you are gonna be viral with this. This is gonna get viral. And it's like, of course not. What the are you saying? So yeah, it was what it was, and it is what it is. So yeah, it actually did really good on YouTube Shorts. The thing is, I'm like thinking and looking, and for some reason, whenever I upload videos of my OCs with music, they do really well. But when I upload videos that don't have like popular music with them, they do really bad. So like I recently, this is gonna be controversial, I made a video, I made a comic for Twitter. I'm not calling it X that. I made a motion comic with my OCs, and I really thought it was gonna be a good idea to use AI voices, you know, from 11 Labs. And honestly, I'm kind of regretting it, because now I look at the video and it's like, ugh, the voices are like so cringe. Why did I do it? You know, like, and they're not even the actual voices that I imagined for the characters. Like they don't really match the voices in my head that I see for the characters. They're okay, I guess. They like get there in a way, but they're not really like, they're not the voices, you know what I mean? I'm really thinking like, should I just delete it? But I also like spent some time with the animations. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like on the fence about it, because like maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have used AI voices, because like with AI, and I guess I'm talking about AI now, which I wanted to talk about it in this video, but it's really like, for your first video you're talking about AI, but you know, it's YouTube. We gotta talk about the topics that are like relevant. So I guess in my opinion on AI right now is like, because my friends and I, we have this opinion that it's gonna be like a calculator. But for artists and like image generation and all that, it's like, I don't think so, you know, like. I don't think it's gonna become the calculator for artists. You know what I mean? Everybody really hates it, and I'm always on the fence. When I use it, I'm always like, ugh, I feel really like icky, and like, especially, you know, now that I use the voices, even if they're just voices. I mean, we have AI voices on TikTok all the time. We have the voice changer, that's AI. I mean, I don't use it. I like choose when I say I use it, I mean like Claude or like ChatGPT, right? It is a thing, and like it's just making us dumber, and it's making us like not think critically about things, you know. So, you know, I don't think it's going away. That's the thing. Like it's not going away per se, but at the same time nobody really likes it, and like it shows, because in this motion comic thingy that I made, it like bombed, you know. And I really thought it was a good motion comic, and I really thought like, hey, this could be something cool as a video format thingy. I really thought like, oh, it's gonna add so much value and it's gonna be so much better and all that. So yeah, I really thought, but obviously it's like, don't do it again. It's like, people saw it, nobody liked it, please don't do it ever again, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe I'll leave that video up, it'll stay in my YouTube Shorts as a little experiment. But honestly, I don't know. I'm like very much like, you know, ugh, I feel icky about it. Like one part of me is like, oh wow, you achieved so much with so little, and then the other part of me is like, ugh, but those voices are not real, and they're like somebody had to give like 11 labs their voice so that they could clone the voice, and then the computer could like spit out whatever I type, So I don't know. Maybe in the future, what I'm thinking is like I could make, a video with this PNGTUBER cat. That's why I'm making this video, to see like how it goes. Maybe in the future I'll be able to read it to you guys, as in like story time, or like a little audiobook version, my book, and get it to you guys this way. Yeah, the book. Okay, so let's go back to the book. The book, Heavenly Bodies, is my first book. It is my little child. And I love it so freaking much because, like I was saying, sorry, scatterbrain. I was saying like, oh, I don't really have an agenda with it, like it was so much darker, and the story goes places that like I wouldn't even go there today, because I know I'm so afraid now of telling a story and like offending someone, or like making or putting something in the story that it's like, oh my god, that is so, you went there, oh my lord. And it's like, yeah, Heavenly Bodies does go there. It's dark, it has people die, characters go to troubles, and like I really put them through the ringer. And I feel like, for example, with the Arslan Chronicles, I'm actually writing a sort of like master document for the Arslan Chronicles, which is my latest novel project thingy. But actually, the Arslan Chronicles separated into 3 books, I guess. The thing about the Arslan Chronicles is like this character called Aiden kind of like goes to sleep and he wakes up. It's like I have done isekai so freaking much already. I'm so sick of that. I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to do a fantasy, or like not even a fantasy. I want to write sci-fi because I've always loved sci-fi. So I'm like, stop with the fantasy bull and just write sci-fi. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like I would go back to Heavenly Bodies and like rewrite it again from the beginning and cut out all of the fat and make it really a punch story. Make it really like the story hits, and stop with all this like when you're like explaining the lore in like the first couple pages and people are like, oh brother, seriously, I want to know. Like the thing is, with characters you have to start with emotions. You gotta give them emotions. You gotta give readers your emotions from the very beginning. You can't be like, and the world was as it was because the 4 cycles, and it is so like this because it's coming to an end, and the people need to do this and that so that they can survive because magic is depleting, or something like that. I want to say it's mansplaining, but it's not called that. I don't know. Like, I really want to just make a good story. And, I actually read a quote by one of my favorite persons, Steve Jobs. The thing about Pixar, sometimes with animated movies, people say like, oh, the story is not where we want it to be, but let's just make the movie anyway, And Pixar is like, no, let's sit down, get the script right, and get the story right, and then we will make the movie. So that's the mentality that I'm like, I have to have that mentality with my work. It's just one of those things, it's a little thing in my brain that stays there forever. And yeah, I'm also having this mentality now with work and content creation, that you want to be a hero for your audience. And the thing about being a hero for your audience is like, you will always get back up no matter what happens. I just recently uploaded a short and I thought it was gonna be really good because I've been getting really good views, and I was like, oh, my newest short, it's a motion comic with my OCs, and people are it's gonna have a bunch of views, at least more than 500 views. I know that's very little, but for me it's a lot. That's my goal, and I had like 200. So yeah, sometimes your videos bomb and all you can do is get back up and make something different, something else. For me right now is like finding myself with long form, I guess. I want to make, and also I want to keep doing shorts, but because the shorts are like oh, I want to have something really cool and something really amazing and make it like very little, very short. And with long form, it's gonna be more like, yeah, it's more talky videos like this. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy that, and if you like it, subscribe, because there's gonna be more videos like this, and I'm gonna have my PNGTuber talk to you guys. So yeah, hopefully in the future you subscribe. So yeah, I guess this is goodbye. Bye.